Alright, hello everyone, we're back. Guess who's back again? Technique Tuesday's back, tell your friends. So, here's what we're going to go through today. So today, we're going to look at sitting. Everyone sits for some period of time, whether it be that you sit for 8 hours a day at work, you sit on the couch to watch Netflix at night, or some of you may just sit on the floor to do whatever it is that you like to do. But the fact of the matter is, everybody has to sit. A lot of us for prolonged period of times. And the fact is, when you sit for prolonged period of times, everything throughout your hips and throughout your body is going to feel jacked up. It's not a position that as human beings we should be in for a long period of time. So what we're going to go through today and also next week is we're going to go through some simple stretches that you can do at home in your own time in order to alleviate some of the tension that your body's going to feel from sitting for a prolonged period of times. Now, when we talk about sitting, there's really two areas that we want to address. Area one is the hips, which is what we're going to go through today. We've got 3 stretches that we're going to go through today, which are going to help you loosen out those hips. The area number 2 is your chest, your thoracic spine, and really getting that opened up, because if we're sitting on our computer or on our phone a lot, we're going to want to get internally rotated, and we want to try and reduce the injuries, reduce the poor posture that comes with that, and that's what we're going to go through next week. But to start off with, we've got 3 movements that we're going to go through and 3 stretches. Now, what I'd recommend for these, if you can do these every day, great. If you can do them multiple times a day, even better. Number 1 is what we call our couch stretch. Now, I've got our bench set up, I've got an ab mat on the floor. The reason it's called a couch stretch is you can do this at home using your couch as the bench, the same as what we've got here. So all I'm going to do, it's nice and simple for me to set up on. I'm going to have my back foot elevated on the couch or on the bench. Back knee's going to be on the floor. Ideally, I want to try and get my heel as close to my butt as I can. From here, what I'm going to do, when I set up, I'm going to just think about squeezing my glutes, bringing that hip forward. And when I'm in this position, what I want to try and avoid is I want to avoid having my ribs opened all the way up. So being in this open position, I don't want to think about just driving my hips forward. I want to think about squeezing those glutes. And when I'm here, I'm going to engage those abs, squeeze those abs, and keep those ribs tucked down in line with my pelvis. And then when I'm in this position, what I want to do is I want to focus on my breathing, okay? I want to make sure that it's nice and controlled, whether it's just 3 seconds in, 3 second hold, 3 seconds out, whatever you're comfortable with. We're just going to keep those glutes engaged, keep those abs squeezed, have that straight line from my knee through to my hip, up to my shoulder, and I'm just going to hold that stretch. Some of you will feel it more in your hips, some of you will feel it more in your quads. I'm going to hold that stretch for 30 seconds to a minute, controlling that breathing, working through that, and then from there, I'll go and I'll change sides. So knee on the floor, back foot elevated, bring those hips forward, so squeezing those glutes, keeping those ribs tucked down, and making sure that I'm breathing into it, working through that stretch. So that's going to go a long way to really helping opening up those hips to start off with. Then from there, the second movement we're going to do, we're going to move around to the back. Now, this is the start of what we refer to as our Spider-Man sequence. We're only going to do step 1. We'll do another video later on just going through the whole sequence, but I'm going to start off like I'm in a push-up position. Then from there, what I want to do is I want to take this leg and place it on the outside of my hand, okay? If I can't get my foot to the outside of my hand, and I understand some of you, the hips might be quite tight, you might not be able to do that. If I can only get it to here, what I want you to do is we're just going to grab our foot, grab our ankle, and try and bring it up as far as we can. Keeping this back foot up off the ground, back knee relatively straight. I'm just going to pick that inside hand up, and I want to try and take my elbow and drive it down to the floor towards my instep. Stretch out, hold for 2 to 3 seconds, breathe in, and then come up. From there, I'm going to change sides. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Big breath in, breathe into it, back knee up off the ground, come back up, and then change sides again. For this, I would probably do 3 to 5 times each side. If you were doing it in a sequence, say for example you were doing the couch stretch and you were doing step 1 of our Spider-Man, I would probably do 30 seconds each side here, 5 times each side there, and try and hit about 3 rounds of that. If you do that, it's going to take you less than 10 minutes, and it's going to go a long way to really opening up those hips. The last movement we're going to go through is a Bretzel. Now this one is a really good movement. Not only is it going to help loosen up those hips and get you some of the benefit you're going to get from the couch stretch and from that Spider-Man step 1, but it's also going to do some thoracic work, which we're going to go into more detail on the next video, but it's going to help open up that chest. So this one's lying on the ground, so you can get nice and relaxed for this one. Bring your knee over your body. So top knee is going to come across my body, knee's going to come on the floor. What I'm aiming for is to get my quad 90 degrees to the floor, to my torso. Shin's going to be 90 degrees to my quad, hand's going to come on that knee, and then from there I'm going to take my other hand and grab my ankle, pulling my ankle up to my behind, and then from there I want to make sure I get a straight line from my knee up to my shoulder on that other side. What I want to try and do here is I'm going to take this shoulder and place it on the ground. The whole time I want to keep this knee in contact with the floor. So I'm going to open up, breathe in, and release, and then sit on back up. And again, breathe out, and then sit on back up. What I would probably do for that movement is 10 times each side. Now, if you were to put all 3 movements together into a sequence, take you about 15 minutes to cycle through it, do about 3 rounds of each of the reps that we've just mentioned. Another really good way for you to put this together, especially within your workday, is just pick one and do, say, 3 times each side, 30 seconds to a minute. For the couch stretch, that'll take you less than 5 minutes. Then, next break, 15-minute break, then do Spider-Man step 1. Again, about 5 minutes, just to kind of get the blood flowing, get those hips opening. Then, the next time around, the next break that you've got, you then might do some Bretzels from there, because that's going to help open that chest up. That's going to really open those hips. Make sure that probably one of the key takeaways that I want you to be really sure of when you do any of these movements is when you get into a position and you feel your muscles stretching, really focus on your breathing. Keep that breathing controlled. Try not to take short, sharp, shallow breaths. Really breathe out into that stretch, because that's going to help increase that range of motion. All right, so right there you've got 3 movements that can help you if you are one of these people that has the disadvantages of sitting all day. Hopefully you got some benefit from it. We're going to be back every week with more Technique Tuesday, so if there is something that you would like us to cover off, comment below, let us know, share this with friends if you've got some benefit from it. If you don't like what you see, just forget this all happened, and we will see you next week. Bye.